Hello and welcome to the Stampscapes Spooky Lab. We have a piece of the Deanna Tubb-Sedillo background, kind of experimental papers, maybe? I don't know what we call these, but they're a little bit larger than the 4¼ by 5½ quarter size page ones. And she sent me some of these just to kind of experiment with. And I love working with these because I can get a really fast scene done, and quite dramatic one with these cool backgrounds already established. Okay, now this one right here, I don't know what looks up and down to me. I guess this looks down and this looks up to me if I were to do most types of scenes, okay? But I'm going to flip it around like this because I see this mist here being perfect for some rising ghosts like this coming out of the mist like that. So I have stamped these, pre-stamped these out and colored them in a little bit with some alcohol ink, and I've printed them onto glow-in-the-dark vinyl sticker paper. All right, so what I see here is I see, for this purpose, like a little slope right here. And I'm going to put some trees in here, and then the ghosts will be rising from the mist. Now that I mentioned that about the trees, I'm wondering, maybe I'll put the tree coming out of the mist. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Because I was going to say, if I have it coming out of the mist right here, I'm going to put the ghost in front of the tree, and that would kind of obscure some of the mist. So we'll do a little bit of I don't know, whatever, revisions as we go along, as we see fit here. We have the sedge filler stamp, and I'll establish a slope, and I'm working with the background paper here. Meaning I see the slope kind of already that whatever, diagonal on the scene. So I'm building my slope around that idea. And let's go in right here. Or do I put this one down here, maybe? Let's go like, maybe I will have this one in here. Sometimes you can't tell what you're going to do until, until you do it. Or until you can see how you can do something. All right, now I'm not going to use this whole stamp, but I'm kind of uncertain about how much I'll be using of it, so I just inked up the whole thing. And I'm looking like this right here. But I'm going to wipe off some of this lower portion, I think, because I think I'm going to have it in the mist a little bit. When all's said and done. So go like that. Using about 50%. I'm standing on this, standing up to get a little bit more leverage, and I'm holding this down for a little bit longer because this is a pre-printed paper here, and while this is printed on matte paper, we're not printing this stamp onto matte paper. We're printing it onto printer inks here. So you hold that down a little bit longer than normal to allow that ink to transfer over to that surface, the new surface, which is printer ink, as opposed to matte paper. So keep that in mind if you're printing on pre-printed papers. I like printing on, I like utilizing things like vintage paper. In the past, we've had wood grain paper, which is really cool. And they're really fun to stamp on because they're established backgrounds. So I love doing backgrounds too, but sometimes, if you just have a little bit of time and you want to get something done fast and really, establish it very quickly, having a established background just ready to stamp on is a nice option. Okay, I'm going to put this tree a little bit higher. I'm not putting it on the hill because I'm going to have it a little bit in the mist like this. So it's like coming out of the mist. I think it's a little bit eerie. And then we'll add in some extra white pigment ink in here. All right, now we're gonna make this like a, I don't know, boot hill type of thing with some tombstones. The question is, do I do them at an angle like this to go along with the slope? Or do we go vertical? I think we go with the angle to kind of keep things a little bit skewed and a little bit more dynamic. You create some visual movement when you have diagonals kind of within a scene, or you stamp things out, you know, kind of skewed. Now the trees are upright. I guess I could have tilted them, but this will create a little bit of contrast, I think. In terms of movement. So do I have something underneath this paper? It seems like I'm stamping not on a flat surface. Here we go. All right. Let's do it again. So I stamp this one this way, then I kind of move this one over and I'm stamping it this way. So it's like this, and then like this, okay? So you can kind of play around with that type of thing. Especially with, if it's supposed to look like an old, you know, cemetery. I'll show you what I'm going to do with this one here. I'm going to blot it off once, okay? And then I'm going to really remove quite a bit of ink off the bottom here of them. To about the middle. And hopefully when I stamp this out there, I'm stamping them out lighter down here, or in the cloud, the mist. And hopefully that looks like they're a little bit more distant than stamping them in full black. Like that right there. Okay. And should I go with another one right there? Oh, I should have done the... let's see. I don't know if I left room, but I have this other angel. Yeah, I'll do that another time. Okay, so let's see here. I have the ghosts, but I think I want to stamp out this witch here. Nice light, even pressure so her broomstick doesn't come out like really smashed. That It definitely looks like Halloween time now. And let's see here. Let's see where we're going to put these ghosts. I think I'll put one down here. And this one in the distance can be like coming out of the mist like that. All right, let's add in some additional shade and light into the mix here. We have this moon here, so it's going to be casting some shadows down here. So at the base of your tombstones, you can put a little bit of shadow, kind of an anchoring shadow like that. They're casting that shadow a little bit. It's really dark in here, so it's not a lot of bright light. So I'm not making like these really long, elongated shadows because we're saying this whole area is kind of in darkness. So this is one of those things. I mean, you don't, in this case, I wouldn't say you have to add this down, but it's one of those little, in this case, it's a little bit more of a subtle kind of addition here. I'm going to put a little bit of a shadow on the slope here as well, just to give it a little bit of differentiation between this more distant area. This tree right here, I'll put a little bit of shadow in here. It's a lighter area, so the shadow is not going to be as strong. Those tombstones are casting a little bit of a shadow too. Look at those clouds in there. That was great by Deanna. I believe they're all pen pastels, but I'm not sure. She might be doing some multimedia. All right, adding in a little bit of extra shading in here into the slope. All right, I think we have a. That looks crack up at that. I think that looks so cool. I don't know. See, it's one thing, kind of working at these backgrounds like this. It's like I come up with the compositions that and looks that I would never come up with on my own. So it's like a kind of nice little collaboration, and challenge too to yourself to utilize what you've been given and to kind of break out of I don't know, certain types of notions that you've kind of established in your head sometime. I put a little bit of green down here. You see that little bit of glow down here in that darker blue. There's a little bit of some light gray I'm going to put on this tombstone. Just to add a little bit more tone. All right, now this should be a lot of fun here. White pigment ink. All those cool little misty formations in the background can now be accentuated or extended, both, with the use of some additional pigment ink here. White pigment ink. You can use pretty much any brand or any type you want. I'm using some Brilliance here. The oil-based other types, brands, Hero Arts, Color Box, those would all work in here too. In some surfaces you want to use, like metallics, you might want to use the Brilliance because it'll dry on there, but this is matte paper, so you can use this. Okay, so see, I'm bringing in some of this mist right in here. So I know I darkened this slope right here, and you're saying, well, why'd you darken it up? Because now you're just adding light into it. Why don't you just not do that? Well, I don't know where I'm going to add this in sometime. And it just, having that little shadow down there kind of anchors it, so it's underneath the white. And it does establish that slope a little bit more, having it in there like that, so you can still see it's in shadow now. Okay, now here I took off some of the ink off the that side of the spooky tree before I stamped it out, so it already looks a little misty, but I'm just kind of bringing in some additional pigment ink up here just to kind of build on that entire concept. I can bring some of this into the tree like that as well, so it looks like it's in mist. After I kind of want those, you know, those ghosts be kind of, whatever, coming out of the mist or frolicking in the mist. Okay, so see that? It's kind of, it's really bringing this whole kind of idea into this area. Let me see if I can bring a little bit down here. It's really dark in here, so I don't want to bring in too much of this, but I think a little bit could add some nice textural variation. It does add in lighting into here too. It's kind of weaving in this whole kind of mist in between the objects and enveloping them in that, oh, kind of that soft light, atmospheric light. Okay. Oh, on these background papers, I don't really feel like I need to add in any of these kind of highlights in here, sharper highlights with the paint pen like I often do with other surfaces, but let's go ahead and add a little bit of it in here. I guess that looks pretty good. Maybe the white would be a little bit too extreme, but not too bad. I'll be a little bit delicate. That really stands out right there quite a bit, but yeah, on the tops of some of these tombstones. That little kind of line is in the designs of a lot of these tombstones already, but so I'm just going in there and kind of reiterating it like that. Kind of put the lighting on the side of the tombstone facing the moon. That, yeah, looks a little bit more, I don't know, maybe dramatic. But this guy coming in from in front of these tombstones, this one can be in front of that one like that, maybe. These are glow in the dark too, so yeah, they should add that little extra kind of fun touch into a Halloween card. One thing you get that's fun about this, I mean, you can stamp these ghosts, directly onto a scene and just kind of work around them. But stamping them on this vinyl is pretty nice because you can just put them wherever you want. In the end, you don't have to worry about what's behind there. You don't have to mask them off when you're stamping. Okay, let's see. I'm going to take a look and see if I want anything else in here. Having a little figure in the mist might be kind of interesting. Yeah. Here's this little girl. Wait, little girl. But it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of a little bit of like a contrast. Yeah, I think so. We'll see how that goes. Maybe I'll take off a little bit of the ink off the bottom portion. I don't know if I'm taking off enough. There's quite a bit of ink on her, but we'll put her a little bit in the mist here. And she's dark enough because I stamped out that tombstone really light, or a lot lighter. Or I can just stamp her in her. I think it'll be just fine. I think she'll stand out okay. Yeah, well, that's pretty cool. With Halloween scenes, you can kind of pack them pretty, thick with imagery, and I don't know. I don't think it looks kind of weird or too cluttered, I should say. I don't know. Everything kind of goes really well with them. Here's like some bats. This one's a really thick area of bats. I don't know, maybe that's like, maybe I'll leave this open for like a quote stamp, like I needed like a quote stamp that says like, wish you were here. This is crow. Maybe that branch is a little bit too far away for that. All right, but anyways, there we go like that. I'll format this onto another piece of paper and get it matted up, but I think it's done for them, pretty much. And I think that's a really fun card. What are we at, 23 minutes or so? It's not too bad for a complete scene. And again, thanks to Deanna for supplying me with these papers. I think this paper right here is like awesome for this particular scenario. Like I've mentioned this before, the pre-printed papers they provide me with a little bit of a challenge because I'm working on a format that I might not really come up with normally when I'm starting a scene from scratch. I wouldn't do this right in here, but kind of working with that, you think about different types of compositions and usages, which really I feel it expands whatever my creativity at the moment. And you see, one of the funnest things to do is to see different things than what you've seen before, kind of develop before your eyes, right on your desk. So, yeah, it's like I don't know, the windows opening wider, the door open out, or whatever analogy. But it's really fun. All right. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the card. And if you have any questions, drop me a note in the comment section before I forget do that. Here, I'll show you what this looks like. I almost forgot. Of course, I'm charging it up in the light here, right in my desk here, and we'll flip off a couple lights and we'll see if we can see what this looks like in the dark here with those ghosts. It's the extra little kind of feature. Extra feature with that type of paper. Look at that. Oh my god, that is so much fun with those ghosts. My camera is compensating quite a bit more for the absence of light in here. I can still see some of the color, and little things like that, but it's not that light in person here, and these ghosts are a little bit more dim. Let me see something, though. Let me see if I can compensate a little bit. Okay, I'm looking at it about like that. That's what it looks like in person here. But yeah, so much fun. So a different personality to the card in really dim light. I have my computer on and a desk lamp from across the room on. But that's what that can look like with some glow in the dark features in your cards. So I would look into that if you enjoy doing Halloween cards, or you like stamping and having a little bit of an extra kind of element to your scenes, in low or no light. That glow in the dark vinyl is really fun to use. All right, thanks again.